Welcome back to Tipton Bros. Today, we'll be going over some of the best value Milsurps of 2020. There's no set price point, just what I feel is good value for your money. I'm going to try my best to diversify the list and possibly give you some options that would be considered out of the box. Let's get into it. Starting our list out at number 5, I'm going to throw you guys a curveball. The Sauer Model 1913. Produced by Sauer & Son out of Suhl, a city in Germany. Designed by the chief engineer at Sauer & Son, Fritz Zeiner. These pistols are of the utmost quality, and were the first major commercial success by Sauer & Son, gaining a reputation for reliability. These neat pocket pistols were produced from 1913 all the way through 1929, being modified twice, making 3 different models in total. The first being the original Model 1913, chambered in 32 ACP, and was well liked. In 1920, Sauer introduced a model chambered in 25 ACP, designated the Model 1919. Lastly, towards the end of its production run, Sauer began to make an export model in 1926, which recorded mixed success elsewhere around the world, with only a few thousand being made. Given the title Model 1926 Export Pistol, these were beautifully finished despite being rather unpopular due to other more established competition, mainly Walther. These gorgeous handguns can be had from anywhere around $350 up to $900, depending on the example. The Sauer Model 13 would make a grand addition to any collection. Coming in fourth, we have selected the Model 1892 Saint-Étienne revolver. This sleek revolver was fielded in 1893, replacing the Model 1873 Chamelot Delvin revolver. The Saint-Étienne revolver was produced in large quantities, with an estimated 350,000 being completed. The Model 1892 saw wide use with French officers during the First World War, as well as a variety of other conflicts. It served valiantly with the French forces all the way up until the early 60s, when it was deemed obsolete and replaced by more modern options. I've personally owned a Saint-Étienne revolver and will continue to sing its praises. They are extremely comfortable in the hand and are a breeze to shoot. The aesthetics of the revolver are also quite appealing, having a deep matte blue frame paired with a sharp straw color on the trigger, hammer, and loading gate. Correspondingly, the grips are beautifully checkered. The main downside of the Model 1892 is ammo availability. It is chambered in 8mm French, which can be difficult to come by. It can be found on the secondary market and to my knowledge is still produced by modern manufacturers, but at a steep price. I would urge you to invest in this classic revolver, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. On to the next pick. Sliding in at our third spot, the always undervalued Guevara 88. The Guevara Model 1888 commission rifle was Germany's response to the French 1886 Lebel rifle. This rifle was forged from the arms race during the new age of smokeless powder and proved to be a step in the right direction for the German Empire. As the years progressed, the Guevara 88 fell out of favor, and at the turn of the century it would be replaced by the revered Guevara 98. Although it had fallen from the front lines, it still saw limited use throughout the First World War in secondary roles. Many you find today will be of the updated variety, being the 88-05 and the 88-14, these being able to use stripper clips, among other modifications. The Guevara 88 service life is extensive and storied, being used by a multitude of countries in a variety of capacities. Guevara 88s are exceedingly common in the US today, and can be found on the primary and secondary market. Prices will fluctuate depending on rarity, but they tend to float around the $500 mark. Ammunition is available, as it is chambered in 8mm Mauser. If you do choose to shoot your example, I would lean towards mild ammunition, but this is just my opinion. Guevara 88s occupied an interesting facet of firearms history that is not often discussed, and it is my hope by making this video that the Guevara 88 will be brought to the forefront of the surplus community. Filling the number 4 spot, the Berthier 1907-15. The Berthier rifle replaced the iconic French Lebel rifle in 1915 when the Great War was in its infancy. These rifles were desperately needed by French forces, as the Lebel had been out of production since 1904 and was assuredly obsolescent by that point. The Berthier replaced, but did not overtake the Lebel. In fact, these two rifles served side by side in the First World War. During French production of the Berthier rifle, some parts were made interchangeable with the Lebel, such as the barrel, to allow for faster output and repair time. I gave the example of a Berthier 1907-15, but all Berthier-style rifles are criminally misunderstood. These rifles were the backbone of the French and were every bit as capable as their adversaries. This includes the carbines of every type. French firearms in general stand out from their European counterparts. The Berthier line of rifles would soldier on to the Second World War, some even enduring until Vietnam. Money-wise, the Berthier 1907-15, for a nice example, will probably run you around $800 or more, and for a lesser specimen, I would estimate around $600. There are a wide range of options with the Berthier, and the carbines can be had for a much more affordable price. You can find Berthier carbines for roughly $350 to $600. Again, if you enjoy shooting your Milsurps, ammunition can be moderately tough to source for the Berthier, as it is chambered in 8mm Lebel. Aside from this, the Berthier type rifles and carbines are a fantastic slice of history, that would fit well into any collection. As our honorable mention, the Astro 600. The Astro 600 is for the most part unpopular in the surplus community, or at least not a topic of discussion. There truly is no reason for this. Not only are they fun collector's pieces, but they also have a storied past. These pistols are a shortened version of the Astro 400, and they are chambered in 9x19 parabellum per request of the Germans. In late 1943, German forces tested and approved the Astro 600, ordering 50,000 in total. It would be designated the Astro 600-43, and a small fraction would see use by the Wehrmacht. Roughly 10,000 pistols were delivered to the desperate Germans before encroaching U.S. forces cut supply lines. The rest of the Astro 600-43 pistols were kept in storage. Post-war, the Astro 600 saw use in several different countries, including Turkey, Chile, Costa Rica, and Portugal, but in small quantities. As luck would have it, the Astro 600-43 would return to the fatherland, seeing widespread use by the West German police. The Astro 600 is a comfortable but heavy sidearm with a unique profile. They can be found anywhere from $400 to $700, and being chambered in 9mm, are easy to shoot. The Astro 600 is a seldom talked about piece of firearms history from the Third Reich, and I believe it deserves a second look. Now, on to our top spot. Taking our top spot on the list, the M91 Mosin Nagant. Specifically, the M91 Mosin, and not the later M9130. The M91 was the mainstay of Russian forces throughout the Great War, which at the time was only produced in its dragoon and infantry models for the sake of simplicity. These rifles, to me, hold a significant amount of historical value, which is why I find them so interesting. They have served around the world from the inception of the Mosin Nagant platform in 1891 all the way through to modern day, being used in a plethora of different countries and more conflicts than I could list here. Usually, an M91 Mosin will have a story to tell, being ridden hard and put up wet. Most Russian examples will be in fair to poor condition, but if you happen to stumble upon a finished M91, they tend to be in better shape. Either way, the M91 is still a great value in today's market considering its age. Although made in abundance, many were updated, so an original M91 is a great investment. Chambered in 7.62x54R, ammunition is still plentiful in the US and can be found for cheap. Aesthetically, the M91 is like the M9130, but with some glaring differences. Mainly, the barrel length, rear sight, and handguard profile. These aging warhorses will often hang around the $400 to $600 mark, which in my opinion is a great value. I hope to see them grow in popularity in the years to come. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Again, if you disagree with anything I have said, or have a question, please feel free to drop it down in the comments. I am no expert, and never claim to be. A like is greatly appreciated, and we hope to see you again on Tipton Bros.